So you must be wondering what we are going to look in this video. So basically this video is about the story There Was an Old Woman, written by Ray Bradbury. And we are a group of 11, we are group 3 and I am Dhruvil Shah, the group leader. So not only you are going to look about the summary of the story, but we are going to look into the different aspects. What does this mean? This means character sketch of the central character, then comment over her language, and to look into this story by others' viewpoint and much more. So I hope you enjoy this video. So let's start.
My name is Ankit and my topic from the story There Was an Old Woman. It is Introduction to Author. This story is written by Ray Bradbury, who was an American writer, and he's been inside toward horror and mystery genre. Ray Bradbury proves to be a promising writer. Was born on 22 August 1920. Was in constant proximity to short stories since childhood. In this period provided foundation for his skill and stories. His first publication was Horror Bunchen Dilemma, inspired by science fiction heroes. He started publishing science fiction stories around the same time. He also published his most famous work, Fahrenheit 451, in 1953. Other notable works included The Martian Chronicles, The Illustrated Man, and many more. He was a recipient of numerous awards, including Pulitzer Prize in 2007. He also wrote several screenplay and television scripts, which added to his popularity. Many of his work were adapted in comic book and television series. All great people have to die someday or the others. Ray Bradbury died on June 5, 2012. On his death, New York Times called him. He is recognized as writer responsible for bringing modern science fiction into literary mainstream. His one of the most famous lines are, "Jump and you will find out how to unfold your wings as you fall." Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Arpit Patel. I am present the theme plot of my story, There Was an Old Woman. The central character of the story is Aunt Tilly, a stubborn old woman who spent her entire life defying death. Emily is aunt's friend's daughter. She lived in New York for her higher studies. The other character of the story are Carrington, a mortuary president, Harrington, Carrington's brother and intelligent businessman, Blackman, a questionable man with frankled ideas, and Mortician, a white smoke man. Here in the story, the main theme is victory over death. Throughout the story, we come across Aunt's own philosophy. This was that she believed the death is most worst thing. She did not believe in death and was ever ready to defeat it. So let's have a look at the story where Aunt and Blackman sitting in Aunt's house in winter afternoon.
Hello, good evening everyone. I am Dhruvil Shah and I am here to summarize the story There Was an Old Woman, written by Ray Bradbury. What is happening in the starting of the story is Aunt Tilly, the old woman, is sitting and busy tatting and knitting for the coming winters. And the black man is sitting on the chair and he's trying to convince Aunt Tilly by his frankled ideas. But Aunt Tilly is not in a mood to listen because of his rude behavior, and she wants him to leave as soon as possible. And then she looks at the 6 feet long wicker basket and the 4 people standing around it. But it was not looking quite heavy. It seemed it was quite light. And then she remembers about Mrs. Dwyer's death, and she instructs the black man if he had any of such ideas, and he should just go away because she would spit on her face directly. And then she introduces us to her friend's daughter, Emily, who was studying in New York and was going to come soon to meet her aunt. And then she introduces us to the relationship of her with her father. What happens is, at a very tender age, she loses her mother. And then she is completely hurt. And she loses faith in death. And she is now ever ready to defeat death at any point of time. Her father tries to convince her, saying man is mortal. Everyone has to die one day. But she is not ready to listen to it, and that was the reason she did not even attend her father's funeral. And now she asked the black man that was he going to stay there for a longer time. And on affirmation, she says, "You just stay there, I'll have a nap." And during her nap, she feels like someone is touching her cheeks, someone is kissing her. But on opening her eyes, she sees that there was no one, and the black man was going away with the 4 people carrying the wicker basket, which looked quite heavy. And there came Emily, and she was quite frightened, quite worried, and quite upset. But Aunt Tilly, with a smiling face, she welcomed her warmly. But she was really crying, she was horrified, she was frightened, and Aunt Tilly slapped her with an angry face, and she asked what was just happening. She thrust out her fingers inside Aunt Tilly, and they vanished. I hope you must have understood what just happened. Aunt Tilly died. But as you all know, रस्सी जल गई मगर बल नहीं गया. Aunt Tilly instructs Emily to take her car out, and they went to the mortuary. Reaching there, she was arguing with the people there. The white smock man was quite humble, quite confident. She was arguing that she wanted her body back. But he said, that's not possible. Then came the mortuary president, Carrington, and everyone. And then what happens is the joyous part of it. And look at it. You need to go ahead. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, this is Abhi Zanzarukiya, and today I am going to continue with the summary part of the story. There was an old woman. As you heard, Aunt Tildy shouts at the mortician in order to get her body back. At the same time, Mr. Carrington, the president of mortuary, heard the chaos going on behind his office. So he himself inquired about that. He asked Aunt Tildy if he could help her. She ordered him to go to the mortician and tell him to stop fiddling with her body. On hearing this, Mr. Carrington was greatly confused as he was unaware of the entire stuff. In order to have the glance of the entire situation, he himself hustled off to the mortician in order to verify what Aunt claimed. After very long discussion with the mortician, he returned to confront Aunt Tildy and told her not to sit there. He even informed her that the mortician started removing blood from the body. On hearing this, Aunt felt like a kick on her face with iron boot. She was still not able to believe what she heard. But yes, what she heard was true. They were removing blood from the body. So she ordered the Carrington, saying, "Tell the mortician to pump the royal blue blood right back into the fine-skinned old body." This clearly shows how particular she is about her philosophy of defeating death. As Mr. Carrington refused to do so, she frightened him, saying that she would sit there for 100 years and would disturb all those who come there. Mr. Carrington thought that this might dislocate their business and their millions of dollars will be lost. So he urgently called the board of members for a conference meet in which they finally decided to give Aunt Tildy her body back. On listening the decision, Aunt Tildy felt great pleasure. Then she let herself fall backward in the wicker basket, and finally she regained her body back. She happily left the mortuary, thanking the Mr. Carrington. From then, if you visit Aunt Tildy's shops and knocks the door, she, standing behind the door, confirms whether you are a black man or not. If you say no, she opens the door, welcomes you in, and quickly shuts off the door. She even offers you a cup of tea, and if you are quite good with her, she even shows finely stitched scar at her neck and praises men's knitting work. That's all for the summary. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Parth Patel. Here I am to characterize the mainstream character of our story. Obviously, Aunt Tildy. Aunt Tildy lived lonely in her world with her own ideals. She was a kind of stubborn and short-tempered lady. It often happens with old people that old age comes with stubbornness and rudeness. And this was no wrong for her. with her growing age grew her stiffness. She was also a kind of possessive old lady, a lady who had her own ideas. Aunt Tilly's single philosophy of life is that if she does not believe in death, then she will never die. She had never got married because she could not find anyone whose philosophy matched with her philosophy, and she can see no future in living with a man who will eventually up and die. Actually, she was against death since her childhood, as she lost her mother in childhood, the childhood when she needed her the most. She even told her father not to believe in death, but after the death of her father, she ran away from everything and didn't even attend funeral, just because her father didn't believe in her philosophy. She hated all those who did not believe in her philosophy. Aunt Tilly uses reason to persuade the Morticians to give her physical body back to her. Yet faith and faith alone is that ingredient which permits her to command her dead body to return to life and have it respond. Nothing, not even death itself, can shake Aunt Tilly's faith. Aunt Tilly's philosophy is wrong, but with her unshakable determination, she eventually turned it right. Now, I would like to call my colleague.
I'm Tanya Garg, and I will be presenting the story from Emily's point of view. Emily is Aunt Tildy's friend's daughter who lives in New York. Her parents had died 20 years back, leaving her at her aunt's place. Now I'll be presenting the story as Emily. I received a letter from my aunt, Aunt Tildy, saying that she wishes to see me again since it had been quite a couple of weeks we had not met. Well, I'm not interested in meeting her. She's not at all friendly. A lady with a peculiar thinking about death. She doesn't really believe in death. Weird, isn't it? To many it is, but still I do respect her views. I reached the front door of the house. I opened the door and saw that Aunt Tildy was sitting on her old antique chair. But wait, something was wrong. She was not really Aunt Tildy. Her spirit tried to speak to me. She was quite unaware of what was happening. I was scared. I began crying. I did not know what to do. I extended out my young fingers and they vanished into her. We both realized that she was gone. She was dead. But how could she be there? My aunt, realizing that she was dead, became furious. She was angry and me to stop crying and explain that only a part of her was there. I rose in sobbing haste. I did not know what to do. I just wanted to run away from them. We got into the car. My aunt was in a hurry. She did not want sieves or cuts in her body or all sorts of liquids running inside her. I had not even stopped the car when she got down and ran where the shining black hose was unloading a wicker basket. She began shouting right in the middle of the road, ordering those men to put the basket down. But the men didn't even care to listen to her. She went through a large hall where the mortician, standing with his instruments, was waiting for the body. I was rather amused to see Aunt's childlike behavior. The mortician, when he ordered 2 men to escort her out of the hall, she did not even listen to them. She began running from one room to another. Mr. Harrington, the president of the mortuary, was just fed up of all this drama. He just gave up and decided to give her body back to her. When Aunt stepped inside the wicker basket, all faces stared at her. Mr. Harrington was worried. The mortician was in grim humor. All other faces just stared at her. "Come on, come to life," she shouted, and the body half rose. "See," she urged, and the light entered the webbed blind eyes. "Feel," she shouted, and the body felt the warmth of the room. Slowly and gradually, the body came to life. And this is how an old woman who believed the very concept of death brought herself back to life. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ashvin Porwal. I am here to comment on the language of central character of Aunt Tildy from the story There Was an Old Woman. So first of all, we all keep making certain grammatical mistakes while speaking or while writing. In this story, same happens with Aunt Tilly. She has a rude tone while speaking. She often does these mistakes which can be depicted by following examples. First, I like playing, laughing, singing. Second, now I remembered, certainly I do. She often covers her fear behind her anger, which is seen when she talks to Black Man and Emily like. When Black Man asked about the reason why she didn't order newspaper during World War, she said in anger that she would spit on his face if he came and looked her. When Emily is looking at her bed, Aunt scolds her and tries to hide the fact that she is dead. She behaves childlike at the mortuary where she is stubborn and says, I will sit here for 100 years and put your business down. She sat in the middle of the road, was not ready to listen to anyone. So no one can conclude that she has a rude behavior because of her philosophy, and she was quite childlike in case of stubbornness. Thank you.
To live, too rare to die. Hey guys, it's Mayank here, and I am here with yet another video on our story, There Was an Old Woman. Basically, our story is based upon life and death. So, what do you mean by death? Is it getting defeated from life, or is it being feared from life? According to me, death is one of the most wonderful feelings you'll ever get from this cruel world. I am here with the topic of sports written by some of the most prodigious authors like John Donne and Epicurus. So with that being said, let's get started. Donne claims death not to be proud of. Well, some people think death is one of the most powerful things in this world, but Donne claims it's not. Because according to Donne, the souls of the people live in this world even in the afterlife. The Greek philosopher Epicurus asks a question saying, why should we fear death? Because it's obvious that life and death cannot exist together. Back in our country, J. Krishnamurti, a profound speaker, author and a philosopher, says that cowards die many times in their life, but the valiants experience death only once. So, thanks for listening me and have a nice day.
I am Vismay and today I am here to relate Aunt Tilly's philosophy with an example. So by now, you must know that Aunt Tilly's single philosophy was that death is ridiculous. She believed that if she would never acknowledge death, she will never die. Now that's stupid. Any person with his right mind would never believe in such a stupid philosophy. Everyone knows that death will eventually come to everyone. But there is more to it. Sometimes wrong philosophy may lead to the right path. Let me give you an example. So everyone must have heard about the epic Ramayana. In Ramayana, mother of Bharat wanted her son to become the king of Ayodhya. So she ordered exile of 14 years for Lord Ram. Now that was definitely not a good thing to do. But ultimately, it led to the defeat of the demon king Ravan and made the world a better place. Similarly, in our story, until this philosophy for death and her unbreakable and unshakable determination led to the defeat of death. So the point I want to drive home is, sometimes wrong philosophy may lead to the right path.
Hello everybody, I'm Mansi and I'm going to narrate a real life story. When I died and came back, I found something lost on the other side. This is a story in which Guido, 75-year-old man, is describing about the experience of his death to his friend. He died on 11 August 2011 near his house in Arizona. He was totally engulfed in the blackness. He was not in his body, not a part of his body, but still he was aware of all of it. When he was walking on the outskirts of Hobson Street, he collapsed on the way his home. At the time of the darkness, he felt safe, relaxed and comfortable. But after a long while, he found that someone was puncturing under his ribcage with a sharp tool. When he opened his eyes, he found a man who was asking him for phone number and address. He called at his home and they went to hospital. He died and he knew, but the people around him can't tell. He can tell that he was not as aggressive and passionate as he used to be. But for the next time, he wanted that people that to leave him in that darkness for a little while, so that he could regain the things that he lost at the time of his death. Isn't it similar to the story There Was an Old Woman, about which we are discussing in this whole video.